Anyway, let me hit my banner. And let's get into our first topic, which is, with all the success and stuff, like a lot of people was throwing shade at DC, and rightfully so, especially during the Snyderverse era. Now, the Snyderverse era, I was not really feeling in regards to that. It was a lot of hit and miss. I did like that. I'm going to admit, I did like Man of Steel for what it was. Although there were people who had issue with what Zack Snyder did with Batman and some of the executive decisions he made. I definitely like Henry Cavill as Superman. However, the Snyderverse wasn't working. All that damn slow-mo. He got to put slow-mo in every damn thing. I don't know why, but he does. They leave things as his signature, but he be ODing with the slow-mo. So the Snyderverse came and went like a fart in the wind. Everybody's still mad over the fact that they're making all these changes. I don't mind it because, first of all, if y'all was here for the Snyderverse, y'all should have went out to the theater and supported what Zack Snyder was doing. But a lot of y'all didn't. I don't think any of the movies that came out in that time went and made $1 billion. Off the top of my head, I'm thinking maybe the closest probably did go to $1 billion was Wonder Woman and Aquaman. I think those were the only two. Aquaman 2 was terrible. Wonder Woman 2 was terrible. After Man of Steel, we should have gotten a Man of Steel 2. Instead, y'all want to do a Batman versus Superman. I don't know why. Although I will say the longer version of Batman versus Superman, I like that more than the original Batman versus Superman. So it seems like these Snyder cuts be doing better, except that crap that be on Netflix. But that's something else. I'm still mad at y'all, Netflix, over the fact that y'all canceled his Army of the Dead franchise, whatever. I really saw the potential in that and thought that would have been a great thing to kind of go into instead of giving us that Rebel Moon mess. But whatever. So, yeah. But now what I'm noticing with this new iteration of DC, things are starting to work in our favor. I'm really excited to see where they're going to go with this Green Lantern franchise that they're talking about. They got the guy from Friday Night Lights. I cannot think of his name off the top of my head. But he's supposed to be playing, and he's supposed to be in the Green Lantern. And then there's word on the street that Aaron Pierre is up in the running, who was on that Rebel Ridge, I think is the name of the movie that's on Netflix. If y'all have not seen that, check that out. They're saying he's in the running to be one of the other what I think John Stewart is who he's supposed to be playing off the top. I'm trying to think of all this off the top of my head that they're saying he's in the running because they are looking for a black actor to play one of the Green Lanterns. So I did hear his name rumbling. I would like to see him in that. Also, if Mahershala Ali drops out of this long overdue Blade damn movie, I do think Aaron Pierre would be a perfect choice to play the new Blade. First of all, he's young enough, very good looking. Those eyes are everything. And definitely, if you've seen Rebel Ridge, he could pull off action. So with all that being set up, so with that, I'm looking forward to Green Lantern. I'm also loving so far Joker Foley. I could care less. I hated the first Joker. So I could care less what happens with this movie. Y'all go see it. Let me know how it is. When it come on HBO Max, I'll watch it. However, I will say the Penguin series, I am absolutely obsessed with. The first 2 episodes I watched last night, because I didn't see the premiere. I was like, I didn't want to have to see it early that last Friday and then have to wait a whole week for Sunday to see episode 2. So I wanted a back-to-back experience. The first 2 episodes so far so good. I'm liking what I'm seeing, and I'm actually looking forward to this whole show as a whole. So without all that being said, because I'm leading up to this point with this success that's happening with is they're giving villains a platform and creating shows around Batman's villains. They found 2 more that they're going to give a little light to. And that is Bane, the super steroid injecting antagonist who was previously seen in the 2012 Christopher Nolan movie, The Dark Knight Rises, and Deathstroke, another popular arch nemesis in the comic book company's fold. And also, if you remember, what movie was it? I think was it Justice League or it was Batman versus Superman, if I'm not mistaken. We had Joe Manganiello starred as Deathstroke in the movie, in which we were supposed to get this Ben Affleck spin-off solo Batman movie where Deathstroke was supposed to be the main villain. And everybody was talking about that they read the script and this is the best script ever written in regards to Batman. But then what happened was the movie never came to fruition. I don't know what happened in regards to that, but Ben Affleck was supposed to write it. He wrote the script. He was supposed to direct and star in the film. And Joe Manganiello was supposed to come on as Deathstroke, but the movie never came to fruition. And with all this hype that was around it, I'm kind of wish that we would have gotten to see this version and would have seen the light of day. But nevertheless, it didn't happen. So whatever. But the good thing is we're getting this Deathstroke movie. Now the question is, can they strike lightning a second and a third time? Because y'all doing well so far with Penguin. I'm loving this whole idea of, Gotham is pretty much its own character, which I think was something that Matt Reeves pulled off excellently and effortlessly in The Batman movie, which I'm actually looking forward to the sequel. And I'm hoping that they're going with the Court of Owls as the villains in that film. I'm really thinking that it's a cool idea. It's something different where we don't have to focus on the Joker and all these other villains that we get, and was it Mr. Freeze or whoever else. Let's go for something we haven't seen before and give us a new perspective, because the same 4 or 5 villains y'all like to use in these superhero movies, that kind of gets a little stale. So I'm looking forward to what they can bring in regards to that. Now, in regards to this, how would you make Bane relatively interesting as his own, in his own, I don't know, movie, TV show? There's no details. Well, let's read further along in the Hollywood Reporter to see if it's a show or if it's going to be a movie. So it basically says, they're being lassoed together for a movie. So they're going to be in the movie together. So they said that James Gunn and Peter Safran led DC Studios is developing a script from Matthew Orton, a scribe on the upcoming Captain America Brave New World movie. Now, based off the trailer so far, Captain America Brave New World looks pretty good. Now, when I see the movie, I'll determine, like, okay, if there's a script that's going to, if the movie's good, then I'll be like, okay, I'm excited. But I'm still a little hesitant because James Gunn's DCU has to prove itself. I already know they've got a lot going up against them because people are kind of folding their arms and frowning their face and giving attitude. Oh, yeah, DC is gonna suck. And it's like, so far so good. Like, I don't know if this version of the DCU, like the Penguin, is from the Peter Safran thing. I'm assuming it is. That this is their version of whatever's happening. I feel like the last thing that we got from DC EU from the Snyderverse was that horrible ass Aquaman movie. So I'm hoping that this is the the start of something new and different. And based off of what we've been getting so far from this universe, I'm actually liking what I'm getting. So they said Bane is a relatively recent addition to Batman's Rogues Gallery, with writer Chuck Dixon and artist Graham Nolan creating him in the 1990s, the early 1990s to be specific. The character was born and raised in a prison in a fictional Caribbean isle, a locale that allowed him to not only own his brute fighting skills, but also absorbed the teachings from all manner and international criminals. He later was the subject of horrific steroidal test, an experiment that left him incredibly strong but also addicted to serums. The character made his mark in an epic storyline titled Nightfall, in which he brutally broke Batman's back, which we saw that story play out in The Dark Knight Rises, which I have mixed reactions to. There were parts of that movie that I loved, and there's parts of the movie that was like, you could have did a little bit. You could have made the story a little tighter, a little better. There were just some weak parts of it. To me, I feel like out of the Batman franchise, that was Christopher Nolan's weakest part of the trilogy. And I also like Tom Hardy as Bane, but what I also despised was the muffled talking, the dialogue. It was hard to make out what he was saying a lot of the time. Like, I felt like I needed subtitles. So I hope that they do a lot better in regards of whatever they bring to the Deathstroke character. So Deathstroke was first introduced in 1980 to be top-tier villain in Teen Titans. But the super enhanced Master Assassin grew to become one of DC's most popular bad guys, squaring off against Batman and the Justice League and headlining his own comics several times. The character was created by writer Marv Wolfman and artist George Perez, or as they say in Espanol, Jorge Perez, has popped up in video games and animated fare. Now, Esai Morales played the character in the recent live-action Titan series. Yeah, I do remember that. And then Joe Manganiello, actually like Esai Morales, and he did a good job in Titans. And Joe Manganiello cameoed as the killer in Zack Snyder's DC movies. Now, at one point, he was going to be the villain in The Batman, back when Ben Affleck was directing and starring. At another point, he was attached to star in a Deathstroke movie from the Raid director Gareth Evans. Now, what happened with that? Because I don't think I knew about the whole Gareth Evans situation. And here's the thing, I love Gareth Evans, and I love the Raid movies. And I also love that show that he developed that I think is on Netflix that's playing right now. Damn, I forgot the name of the series off the top of my head. And wait, hold on, let me go look it up because I hate when that happens. When off the top of my head and I'm doing stuff and I can't remember. It was called Gangs of London. I don't know why I cannot remember the name of that damn show. But yeah, Gangs of London, they had, I believe, 2 seasons. And I think it was, I don't know, I guess it was canceled, or whatever the case was, because I think it was on AMC Plus, which AMC Plus is similar to MGM Plus. Like a lot of people couldn't find that channel on a damn TV, and that's a good damn show. But I think it was doing really well when it's on Netflix because Netflix is broader and a lot of people have that channel, so they have access to seeing a lot of the AMC Plus shows. And I guess that's what Netflix, well, they're using Netflix as a way to draw people over there to AMC Plus to catch all the new shows and things of that nature. So I did like Gangs of London. First of all, the action sequence on that show was crazy, and I love the whole. It was like The Sopranos with martial arts. That's basically what I kind of compare it as. So if there's a show that y'all have not seen, definitely check that show out. Also, they said that DC and Warner Brothers have found considerable success with highlighting villains on the feature side. The most prominent is example Joker, with filmmaker Todd Phillips' unique take on the clown prince of crime, propelling the movie to a $1 billion box office and Oscar goal for Joaquin Phoenix. So yeah, he did win an Oscar. Also, Hildur Gudnadottir, which I'm guessing that means he's from Iceland, because when they all had that name like that, like Bjork, they from Iceland. That's how I be knowing based on how the names be looking. But then, of course, we have Joker Folie à Deux that's coming out, which I'm hearing is getting mixed reviews, and it actually comes out in theaters this week. And yeah, so far the Penguin is doing really well on HBO Max, so that's a huge hit for them. So they're like, yeah, let's dig into the war chest and see what villainy characters can we bring in and give them their own film. Now they're saying that they're going to put Bane and Deathstroke in the movie together, but I'm like, now, if there was some Batman sort of thing where he was going at the both of them at the same time, I could see that. But I don't know. Off the top of my head, I can't really see how they're going to make this work. But I will say that I absolutely love these two villains. Now, in regards to who's going to play these characters, that remains to be seen. And I'm relatively interested in hearing you guys' thoughts on, do you think this is an interesting idea? Are you interested to see? I mean, based on so far so good with DCU in regards to the whole, giving these villains like these complex, flawed storylines, especially what they're doing with the Penguin and the fact they brought that kid Victor in that was like stealing his car in the first episode, and now he kind of brings him in, and it's sort of like they're like a demented Batman and Robin in a way. So that's how I kind of look at their relationship, and he's kind of like taking this kid under his wing, and he's kind of walking through this underworld with him, and how Penguin is slowly trying to take over the business from the Falcons, and it's like we got the Falcons going against the Maronis, and I like that whole vibe of what they're doing with that. So with that being said, it's interesting. I'm trusting to see what they're going to go with this and that they'll get the ball rolling. And so I'm on the optimistic side of it, but I am a little hesitant to go full in and give my support. So I'm hoping that they work it out and they make these villains work in a way that we can have, a little empathy for them, but they also can give us that twisted, crazy action type stuff. So I'm curious to see what they're going to do with this. So I say all this to say, what do y'all think of this story? And also, who do y'all think would be a great addition as part of the cast of who should play Bane and who should also play Deathstroke? Should they bring Joe Manganiello back in to play Deathstroke? Because we definitely, in my opinion, same thing like how we got with Channing Tatum and Gambit, how he got his opportunity after the fan service and stuff. We didn't get to see Joe Manganiello have his moment of being Deathstroke on the big screen, small screen, whatever you have it. We've seen him with a little cameo, but he didn't get his just due. Same thing with Bane. Yeah, Tom Hardy did what he did. I still have my trust. Like y'all already know, I said it early in the thing. my trepidations in regards to that and how I felt about Dark Knight Rises. But since they're not going to have Tom Hardy come back and reprise that role, who do you think will make a good Bane? Whatever your thoughts are, let me know in the comments down below.